नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। This verse is not in a prose where we can recite like we recite other verses. So I'll just say the verse once and we'll together discuss, hear the word to word meanings and recite together. श्रीशुक उवाच इति संहितो महाभागवतो भगवतः त्रिभुवनगुरोर् अनुशासनम् आत्मनो लघुतया वनतः शिरोधरो बाढम् इति बहुमानमुवाह। श्रीशुकोवाच Shri Shukdev Goswami said, Iti thus Samavihitaha completely instructed Mahabhagavataha the great devotee Bhagavataha of the most powerful Lord Brahma Tribhuvana of the three worlds Guroho the spiritual master Anushasana the order Atmanaha of himself Laghutaya because of inferiority Avanata bowed down Shirodharaha his head Badham yes sir Iti thus Sarvahumanam with great respect Uvaha carried out. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Translation. Shri Shukdev Goswami continued, after thus being fully instructed by Lord Brahma, who is the spiritual master of the three worlds, Priyavrat, his own position being inferior, offered obeisances, accepted the order and carried it out with great respect. Shri Priyavrat was the grandson of Lord Brahma. Therefore, according to social etiquette, his position was inferior. It is the duty of the inferior to carry out the order of the superior with great respect. Priyavrat therefore immediately said, yes sir, I shall carry out your order. Priyavrat is described here as a Mahabhagavata, a great devotee. The duty of a great devotee is to carry out the order of the spiritual master, or the spiritual master of the spiritual master in the parampara system. As described in Bhagavad Gita 4.2, Evam parampara praptam, one has to receive the instructions of the Supreme Lord through the discipling chain of spiritual masters. A devotee of the Lord always considers himself a servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana-anjana-shalakaya Chakshur-umritam Yena Tasmai Shri-Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano-bhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadayam Dadati Swapadakam Vandeham Shri Guru Bhashiyata Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakamatamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Gaurvani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatayane Namo Mahamananyaya Krishna Prema Gadayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gaureshya Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Doshate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwanu Sute Devi Pranamami Harihe Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhu Bhyavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Mukham karoti vācālam pankūmyam dhāyate yadvipātamaham vande Shri Guru Dīnatāram Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So today we are discussing from chapter 1 of Canto 5, as we have been discussing for the last few days. The background of this pastime as of now is that Maharaj Priyavrata was being asked by his father, Swayam Guru Manu, to take to the Grihastha order of life so that he can perform the responsibility of ruling over the world. But Maharaj Priyavrata was trained by Narada Muni in the principle of renunciation. And he already was a Mahabharata liberated soul, and thus he had no inclination to enter the Grihastha order of life and to perform the responsibility therein of ruling the world. So here was Narada Muni, a great Mahajan, having trained Maharaj Priyavrata in a particular way, and another Mahajan, Swayam Guru Manu, is now desiring something opposite to happen as per the training given by Narada. So two great Mahajans had difference of opinion. So not an ordinary soul can resolve this situation. Therefore another Mahajan, Lord Brahma, had to descend from the Brahmaloka all the way to Bhuloka. So Lord Brahma, he descended in his swan carrier along with many of the demigods. He was very well received and worshipped by Swayambhu Manu, Narada and Maharaj Priyavrat. It is described that Brahma, when he arrived, he was not in an angry mood that why Maharaj Priyavrat is not listening to his father Swayambhu Manu. He was with a very pleasing smile on his face and great loving words towards Maharaj Priyavrat. Brahmaji started speaking nothing but expressing the desire of the Supreme Lord for Maharaj Priyavrat. Brahma began with saying that please listen carefully now what I am about to say. In very few verses, Brahmaji explained that it is not Swayambhu Manu who wants you to get married, not me who wants you to get married, but it is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. It is his desire that you enter into the greatest order of life. And thus, as Bhujan Prabhu was explaining, renounce renunciation. So till yesterday's verse, the various instructions that Brahmaji gave, or the way Brahmaji presented the desire of the Lord was being talked about. In today's verse, what happened after Brahmaji finished expressing the desire of the Lord? What did Maharaj Priyavrat do? That is what is talked about here. Very powerful and beautiful verse. An equally powerful and beautiful purport of Srila Prabhupada. It is said Maharaj Priyavrat, understanding his position as an inferior in front of Lord Brahma, he offered obeisances, accepted the order, and carried it out with great respect. The word used here is Sa Bahu Manam, with great respect. Bahu Manam, giving mana or respect. We can go in various directions in this purport. I was thinking of taking the discussion in the direction which the previous two great souls have been discussing. His Grace Bhujan Prabhu and His Holiness Gaurasunder Maharaj. Bhujan Prabhu very beautifully took out the principle where Srila Prabhupada was talking about brahmachari life means a life of sense control. And he explained the basis of sense control is obedience. Very emphatically and beautifully he brought out this principle of the need of obedience to be able to control one's senses. Manu Samhita explains that the basis of obedience, so basis of sense control is obedience, but the basis of obedience is respect. Unless one respects someone, why will one obey that person? So the prerequisite to obedience is respect. And that was the reason that in the brahmachari life, a student who used to take admission in the Gurukula, one of the major emphasis in training a student of a Gurukula was the principle and the culture of respect. This was one of the very important principles that was emphasized in training a child. Very, very important. Srila Prabhupada mentions that Kali Yuga, one of the major areas where Kali Yuga degrades is loss of respect in relationships. So this principle of respect was a very important part of Vedic culture. And therefore, practically 20 years, a student in the Gurukula was given very strong emphasis in training the child. And that was one of the ways that was done was that the child was made to serve under the spiritual master, the spiritual teacher of the Gurukula. Because when you serve someone very exalted, naturally a feeling of respect is there. Amongst equals, it's not easy to respect the other person. But a person is very senior, it becomes natural to respect that person. What to speak of that person is the topmost person at Gurukula. So the student used to be given the service, time to time invitation of being the assistant or the servant of the spiritual teacher in the Gurukula. And thus, a sense of respect was cultivated within his heart. And one of the aspects of respect was being sensitive to the person whom you are serving. Madhu Samhita explains that women have been gifted by God the quality of sensitivity, but men have not been much gifted the sense of sensitivity. Therefore, they need to be trained to cultivate being sensitive to others' acts, thoughts and feelings. And the way it was done was that the students were made to serve someone who was in a very high position. And naturally you become very sensitive and careful to rendering the service. Therefore we see in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, when he was told by Lord Krishna to kill his own family members, and especially people like Bhishma and Drona, whom he had very high respect for, it was so difficult for Arjuna to follow this instruction of Lord Krishna initially. For us, if somebody is doing something wrong to us, even if that person is senior to us in age or position, it may not be so difficult to take a strong action against that person. Because we are not born and brought up in a culture where respect was very highly emphasized. But for Arjuna, the thought of even verbally arguing with a person who is superior was unthinkable. What to speak of fighting with them and killing them? We don't understand the degree of difficulty Arjuna was facing in his mind when he was told to fight against his superiors. It is not easy for a person to in Vedic culture to in any way disrespect somebody who is superior in any way. But respect is something, as Srila Prabhupada says, that can't be demanded. It has to be commanded. One has to be respect worthy, and others feel like respecting that person. Today we see often, when we meet different people, especially parents, they often tell, see this child of ours, he doesn't listen to us, should tell him how Lord Ram was so obedient to his father Dashrath. Should tell him about these pastimes of Ramayana, how the child should obey their father. Then they tell their parents, but then the father has to be like Dashrath. If you really want your son to be like Ram and obey you, the child has to feel like respecting his superiors. You can't enforce the principle of respect, saying that it is mentioned in the scriptures like this, you should respect the parents. The parents have to be respect worthy, or in any relationship. So Prabhupada in the third canto of Bhagavatam, when he talks about the discussion with the life of Gandharva Muni and Devahuti, he mentions that in the relationship between husband and wife, two principles are very important: intimacy and respect. If the relationship is too intimate and respect is not taken care of, then familiarity will come. And the relationship is too respectful and intimacy is lacking, then it will be too official. And the relationship will remain stunted. So there has to be a beautiful balance of intimacy and respect. Now it's easy to talk about this quality of respect. It begins with, of course, externally being respectful in one's speech, in one's behavior. Like I often tell rehearsals that they should, in the morning when they get up, they should offer obeisance to each other. Not very many husband wives, they have this practice. When they get up and they offer mancha kalpataru prayers to each other in a great respectful mood. But here I am today onwards there to serve you. But external respect, it gradually helps leading to feelings of respect for another person. Once one disciple of Srila Prabhupada didn't feel like offering obeisances, and he said, Prabhupada, I don't feel like offering obeisances to you. Prabhupada pushed his head saying that anyways offer obeisances, gradually feelings will come. So initially one may not feel like respecting someone, and the etiquettes say that when the relationship demands, then one should at least externally or physically offer obeisances and respect to the other person. So the principle says, or scriptures say that respect has to be given to everyone without discrimination. For different reasons we can think in our mind, why should I respect this person? How this person is respect worthy? Even if a mosquito comes and sits on our body, the mosquito is also respect worthy. You can think in your mind, various reasons can be thought of. How that mosquito is superior to you and thus deserves respect from you. It is said mosquito can smell blood from around 70 kilometers of distance. Can we do that? Can we fly like a mosquito? There are reasons we can think of how that mosquito is superior to us and thus it deserves our respect. Now respect doesn't mean you allow him to bite you and suck your blood. But very respectfully we can drive off that mosquito so that we can render our service to Krishna which we were rendering. But it shouldn't be naturally the response of people is immediately they kill the mosquito very cruelly. And sometimes I see when an ant climbs upon the body of some person, they like a carrot strike off that ant. There's such gross disrespect to that living body. He doesn't know he's climbing your body. He just happened to walk. For some reason he was just walking. Very respectfully, Vaishnava, if he's conscious of this principle. And here is another living entity, servant of Krishna, child of the Lord. What right do I have to disrespect? But of course, forget about other species. We should first begin with amongst devotees. Especially those whom we have relationships with, whom we are closely related to, whom we are living with. Amongst them there has to be a very high sense of respect towards each other, which can begin with having some thoughts about the other people, of how they are superior to us in various ways. And gradually rendering activities of respect, like speaking kind words and offering obeisances and everything like that. But it is said that to go deeper in the principle of respect, simply such acts may not be enough. One has to, because one of the enemies of respect is familiarity. The more one becomes familiar in a relationship, it becomes difficult to respect that person. So the antidote to familiarity, as described by Srila Prabhupada in some purports, is service attitude. The more one cultivates the attitude to serve, again this is internal. One has to feel that here is a living entity, servant of the Lord, and I am supposed to be a servant of everyone, as Prabhupada says, a servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. So that naturally my responsibility or service is, my behavior with this person should be such that I render some service to this person. Service, one way can be understood as a way to assist that living entity in his or her service to Krishna. What does it mean to serve someone? Means in our mind we think before interacting with the person, what can I do? What can I speak? How to behave in this situation so that the other person is his or her Krishna consciousness is enhanced, or the other person is inspired in his or her Krishna consciousness. Every act has to be thoughtfully performed with this intention. That is the attitude to serve. How can I serve this person? How can I serve this child who comes to us? How can I serve this living entity? Even if we are going to a shop and do some purchasing on a day-to-day basis, how can I serve the shopkeeper whom I want to talk to? How this person is just not interested in Krishna consciousness? How can I speak to him in such a way that his Krishna consciousness is aroused? Or what can I do while doing this purchase that his Krishna consciousness is, at least he makes one step further progress in his Krishna consciousness. At least this intention has to be there. It is mentioned that the service attitude is so powerful that even if you are not able to physically do something for the person, just thinking like that, Krishna will in the heart become so pleased, and he helps that other person for whom we are feeling like this to make some advancement without the knowledge of that person whom we are interacting with. The service attitude, when very thoughtfully applied, can lead to a transformation of the heart of the people whom we are interacting with. This is a very subtle and powerful way and a miraculous way to bring about transformation in the hearts of others. To the extent that some devotees who expressed to me how simply by wishing well and with a strong attitude they interacted with some people who were inimical to them. Like a person A interacted with a person B, and this person B doesn't like person A. But this person A, he was having such strong feelings of servitude towards the person B, knowing very well this person B doesn't like me. But this person B, although inimical, service attitude has the power to even make an enemy secretly love you. In his heart of hearts, his feeling of love towards you will be evoked by your service attitude towards this person. That's how powerful is this attitude of well-wishing, of servitude towards someone. Genuinely feeling what can you do to serve this person? And whatever thought that comes to our mind, based on that we try to, the attitude is pure, we try to speak those words. It has a very powerful transforming effect on the other person. So being casual, being familiar, being frivolous in talks, in dealings, crushes respect. Especially as I was talking, when intimacy comes, like husband-wife relationship or parents-child relationship, because too much of intimacy, of frivolousness. Frivolousness means things done and spoken without a Krishna conscious intent. Such frivolous speech or frivolous behavior leads to lack of respect. And when respect is lost, we can't expect obedience or surrender or submission from one's subordinates. So often we see people in this world are very casual in their talks. Of course, when we say Krishna conscious relationship should be very serious, should be respectful, some people think that means there's no scope of laughter and joy and happiness in Krishna consciousness. It's not like that. Srila Prabhupada so often used to have such broad smiles and laughters. Like sometimes Prabhupada used to quote Gopal Bhatt stories and used to have very great laughter in the assembly. Once it is mentioned, Prabhupada was in Germany and devotees were making arrangements for Srila Prabhupada to meet the devotees, other devotees, but the temple room was really small. So it is mentioned, Prithu Prabhu, he was making some arrangement for Srila Prabhupada. So he said, Prabhupada, tomorrow you can meet the devotees while you'll be in the balcony of the temple, you can give darshan and you can be talking to the devotees while they'll be down outside on the street. But the only problem is municipality has made a rule that in public or outside you cannot use sound system. But we felt this is a practical way you can meet the devotees. While you being in the balcony, you can give darshan, you can talk to the devotees there. Prabhupada said, this is just like the story of Gopal Bhan. Once Gopal Bhan, he made a toilet, and because he had newly constructed a toilet, he was very finicky about keeping it clean. He didn't want the toilet to be soiled by water and mud. So a friend of Gopal Bhan came to the house of Gopal Bhan, and he asked, "Can I use your toilet to pass stool?" Gopal Bhan said, "Yes, you can pass stool, but dare you pass water. I will stand outside the stick, and if I see a drop of water coming, I'll beat you with the stick." So I said, "This is just like that. You are saying I can speak to the public, in devotees in public, but I cannot use a sound system." And everyone in the assembly laughed. So Srila Prabhupada used to crack jokes, but they were very meaningful, very purposeful, very Krishna conscious jokes, and they used to have laughter. There are other Krishna consciousness processes Sukham Kartam Mahavya, which is very joyfully performed. But that joy is not a frivolous, that joy is not just an external, just having laughing going on, but it's not having any meaning behind it. But meaningless talks, it results in familiarity, lack of respect. Like once, there was some dissension going on between some sannyasis and grihasthas during Srila Prabhupada's time. And Srila Prabhupada took a very strong stand over the Radha Damodar Traveling Sankirtan Party, headed by Srila Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And Prabhupada took a very strong stand against some things that were being done by the Traveling Sankirtan Party. So the Tamal Krishna Maharaj told that the way Srila Prabhupada dealt with the whole situation, he felt very discouraged. So he said, "Prabhupada, looks like I am not able to render proper service to you. I am not able to do my preaching service properly, especially in America. Maybe I'll give up all my services in America. And somewhere where nobody will disturb me, I'll go and preach there, maybe somewhere like China or someplace." And anyway, the meeting ended after a few minutes. This was late in the evening. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj went and all the devotees they left. Early in the morning, before Mangal Arati, Srila Prabhupada called for Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Trivikram Maharaj. The Prabhupada said he wanted to meet these people. Of course, Tamal Krishna Maharaj had already gone for Mangal Arati, so he couldn't be called immediately. And Trivikram Maharaj came, and Prabhupada told, "I want you and Tamal to go to China to preach. I have been thinking about it all night." And Trivikram Maharaj didn't object to it, he was very happy. Then he called Gopal Krishna Maharaj and Gopal Krishna Prabhu, saying that you should go to Russia and be preaching there. And Gopal Krishna Maharaj was very happy hearing that order. Lord Chaitanya's message will be spreading to different parts of the world. When Tamal Krishna Maharaj heard after the morning program that he has been told to go to China, he just couldn't take it. He went into the room of Srila Prabhupada to talk to him, but Prabhupada at that time was taking a bath. So he was pacing up and down, thinking of various logics and reasonings he could give to Srila Prabhupada. Of course, it was a beautiful long pastime. When Srila Prabhupada came, he was very strong upon Tamal Krishna Maharaj that he should go to China. Tamal Krishna Maharaj gave various reasons, solid reasoning why his bus party is having so many plans. And if he just leaves the bus party and goes to China, the whole plan will be destroyed, all devotees will be discouraged, nobody will be inspired to distribute any books. And he said, moreover, Prabhupada, yesterday night when I talked about China, it was just in the passing, as if like going to moon. Or I just wanted to give an example of a place where nobody will disturb me. I just happened to say China. Prabhupada said, no, I took that statement as Krishna's plan, Krishna's arrangement. He said, Prabhupada, I was just joking. Then Prabhupada said, Vaishnavas don't joke. And Prabhupada was very, very strong. To which eventually, in the end, Tamakis Maharaj offered his obeisances and said, yes, Prabhupada. And he said, yes, sir, I will follow your order. Prabhupada immediately gave such a beautiful smile and embraced Tamakis Maharaj. But he made the statement, Vaishnavas don't joke. Very strongly, Prabhupada said, praising his finger. So there is no frivolity, casual talk, especially with one's spiritual master. There is no such thing as being casual, being formally, being just, I just happened to say like this. I didn't really mean it. These talks are not entertained. They lead to loss of respect, familiarity. Every word that is spoken in the presence of spiritual superiors has to be very thoughtfully spoken, has to be meaningfully spoken. So this principle of respect being the basis on which Vaishnavas have interaction and relationships, the relationships remain very pure. Then there is a natural desire to, especially the superiors, to obey the superiors and to follow the order, which Srila Prabhupada once, Vajpayee Prabhu, VIT director, he gave a class here in Vrindavan. He was saying before giving the class, he went to the folio and typed "Secret of Spiritual Advancement." And he said there were more than around 427 or something, some number he said, big number, hits in the whole folio, all Srila Prabhupada's books, where the same thing was being talked about. All 427 places, secret of spiritual advancement is by following the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master. So, this principle of following the order of the spiritual master is so strongly emphasized. Every morning we sing, Yasya Prasada, Bhagavad Prasada, Yasya Aprasada, Agati Kodopi. It is only by following the instruction of the spiritual master do we please Krishna. We have no direct access to Krishna. Krishna has made himself accessible through the personality of Shri Guru. And by following his order, which is none other than the order of the Supreme Lord, one makes progress. It's so clear and simple, yet so difficult. What makes it difficult? As we discussed, it's not inspired to follow, or not feeling like to follow the order because of lack of respect. One doesn't respect the personality as much that any words coming from that person, one considers. Prabhupada said in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the instruction from the spiritual master cannot be considered. They have to be just followed immediately. Of course, in another place, Prabhupada said, sometimes the spiritual master's instructions can be postponed but not neglected. Like in the case of Prabhupada himself, when he got the instruction from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati to preach in the rest of the world. He didn't immediately act upon it. He wanted to prepare himself, but he was having those instructions in mind. He never forgot those instructions. Or like before Narad Muni became Narad Muni, in his previous life when he was maid servant's son, he served the 4 Bhaktivedantas. And he developed such a relationship with the Bhaktivedanta that he wanted to just give up his life with his mother and he wanted to live with his Bhaktivedantas and travel with them. But they told him that no, that is not right. You should continue taking care of your mother. She is your responsibility till the time she is alive. It's Narada, this boy, Narada, he remembered those instructions. After some years, when the mother left her body, immediately Narada, although he performed the last rites for his mother, he immediately left her and went in search of those Bhaktivedantas. He didn't forget those instructions, although a lot of time had elapsed. So instructions when received, as the word used is Sarvabhaumana, with great respect, Maharaj Priyavrat. Although the instructions were unpalatable, he wanted to remain in the renounced order. He was being told to get married as a service to the Lord. But this shows how much he had respect and love towards Mamaji and towards the Supreme Lord. And because if Supreme Lord wants me to get married, why am I attached to my association? He could give up that strong attachment. So this is the way to give up attachment to this world, which is the root cause of our being in this material world. Our material attachments are so strong. Devotees often say, "Oh, what to do? I'm so attached to this thing. How can I give it up?" This is the way to give up any material attachment. We have to have stronger spiritual attachments, which begins with feeling of respect towards superior, especially one's spiritual master. Like how Rukmini, who had never even seen Krishna, she developed respect and love towards the Supreme Lord simply by hearing from others about the glories of Krishna. That's one way. Another way to cultivate respect for someone, especially one's spiritual master. Therefore, it is mentioned by Vishnu Thakur, Dhyayamstu Vamstasya Yashas Trisandhyam. Thrice a day at least, to begin with, one should meditate on the glories of one's spiritual master. Because the more we meditate on the glories of the spiritual master, naturally we understand how great is he. And the more we meditate on the greatness of the spiritual master, we feel like respecting him and following his orders. Therefore, the scriptures so strongly emphasize, therefore, so many Srila Prabhupada's disciples have written so many books expressing their heartfelt exchanges and dealings and interactions with Srila Prabhupada. So, by reading these different books glorifying Srila Prabhupada, beginning with the Leela, one develops so much respect for Srila Prabhupada. One feels like, just see this person, what dedication, what commitment. I also want to serve. Then if we come to know, Srila Prabhupada wants this to be done. Srila Prabhupada wants us to get up early in the morning, even in the winter season, we come for a morning program. Even if it is very uncomfortable for us to get up, especially in this extreme cold, one would at least want to do it. If there is some feeling of respect and affection for Srila Prabhupada based on hearing about Srila Prabhupada. Sometimes it is said, by hearing from the Guru, one doesn't develop as much respect as by hearing about Guru from someone who loves Guru. Sometimes it's possible to develop more respect for a spiritual master by hearing about the spiritual master's glories from someone who loves the spiritual master. Therefore, these books, transcendental books which glorify Srila Prabhupada, help us to really appreciate who is this person. How great is this person? Therefore, simply knowing God is great is not enough. We have to know how great is God. Then we feel like respecting God, serving God, and following even those instructions which are unpalatable. Following a palatable instruction is not a difficult thing. The spiritual master said, I want you to take sweet rice every morning. Yes, I want it. Very happily I'll follow the instruction. Very strictly I'll follow it every day. That's not so difficult. Especially doing something that we don't like. Study my books every day for 2 hours. Prabhupada wanted it. Very difficult. Usually one student was telling, I was in a college program. The moment I sit to study Prabhupada books, I follow the same book and go to sleep. So difficult to study these books. Although they are so beautiful. But because we lack respect for Srila Prabhupada, we don't have as much love for him. It's so difficult sometimes to hear about the teachings and the philosophy mentioned by Srila Prabhupada. It's a matter of respect and love. If you love someone, Prabhupada used to often give the example of material so-called love. When a man loves a woman, even when the woman calls the man to meet him at 1 o'clock in the night, He will not go to sleep also. What if I don't get up on time? Whole evening, night, he'll be awake, waiting for that time. Not that when he'll go to meet her, he'll fall asleep talking to her. Or while she's speaking, he's listening to her, he goes to sleep. But when we listen from great souls, we feel sleepy, especially in the class, or interact with the Supreme Lord in the form of chanting the holy names. Why we fall asleep? Lack of respect, lack of love. If you love someone, how can you sleep? Like you love to take prasad. So difficult to sleep while taking prasad. It's not just because you're active, physically active. That's why you don't sleep. It's just lack of love and respect. So therefore it's very important, as in the very scriptures, the principle of respect. Following the order or obedience has to be based on respect. When there is feeling of respect, naturally you will want to follow the orders. You don't have to be emphasized and told to follow the order of the spiritual master. That's the way you make progress. No, gopis were not told to follow the order of Krishna. They just loved the Lord. And whatever the Lord says, they were just eager to follow. As we heard in the case of the glorious example of Yamuna Mataji. How she was so eager to follow that one little instruction of Srila Prabhupada of giving rice for them in that chain. I personally heard that pastime heard from her. The way she spoke that pastime, especially the disciple of Srila Prabhupada, when they speak about this pastimes, like yesterday we heard of Veera Swami speaking about how he was attacked by that lady. Hearing from Maharaj, and that example somehow had a very, very deep impact upon my heart. Similarly, when I heard of Yamuna Mataji, how she was determined to cook that little thing, sweet rice for Srila Prabhupada. She would have just gone and said, Prabhupada, they're not allowing me to cook, so maybe once we reach to our destination, I can cook rice for you. But Prabhupada wants it. She went to the extent of telling that Pantrika people that if you don't allow me to cook, we'll jump. And she told, while she was narrating this pastime, actually, I meant it. I was not just trying to threaten this man and allow me to cook other than jump from the train. She said, if he wouldn't have allowed, I would have jumped. She actually felt like that. As yesterday Veera Maharaj said, after the whole episode, he felt, maybe I love Prabhupada more than myself. This is something very difficult. Impossible to conceive in the material world. To love somebody else more than oneself. Every one of us in a conditioned stage, we love ourselves the most. To love someone more than ourselves, very difficult. It's only possible on a spiritual platform. And it's only possible when it begins with a deep desire to want to serve that person, which is based on a strong feeling of respect. There has to be an inherent feeling of respect. Eventually, for the respect to convert into love. The prerequisite, the beginning of love is feelings of respect. Therefore, scriptures so strongly talk about this. 20 years, there has to be meaning behind it, where a student in Gurukula was taught the principle of respect. 20 years this principle was emphasized. How to respect others, how to respect one's superiors, one's equals, one's juniors, other living entities, devotees, non-devotees. Every living entity has to be respected. So as we hear of how Maharaj Priyavat was so happily, so eagerly, he followed even an unpalatable instruction. He never wanted to get married, but if this is what the Lord wants, so be it. Yes, sir. I will follow your order. There was no argument. Prabhupada said, in dealing with the spiritual master, there is no argument at all. Therefore, Prabhupada, Krishna didn't speak Bhagavad Gita in the first chapter. Because Arjuna had not yet taken the position of disciple. Prabhupada explained in one lecture, in a relationship with a friend, there can be argument. But in a relationship with a spiritual master, no argument. One simply has to accept the order. But of course, sometimes we talk so much strongly about following the order, it sounds like kind of a force, kind of not very comfortable to hear this word surrender, follow the order. These words don't seem very palatable because we lack respect. Therefore, rather than jumping on to the principle of following order, we begin with learning to respect others. especially one's superiors. And as we are trained in this culture of respect, gradually, naturally, when one loves someone, respects someone, one would want to follow the order of that person. So here, the word used for Maharaj Priyavrat is Mahabhagavatam. And Prabhupada says the duty of a great devotee is to carry out the order of the spiritual master. That is the greatness of a disciple. A great disciple doesn't mean who's doing great services like building big temples, distributing millions of books. That's good. But what contributes to the greatness of a disciple is how much is he eager to follow the instructions of the spiritual master. That is his greatness, as Prabhupada says in the purport. What made Maharaj Priyavrat a Mahabhagavata is this quality that he was ready to follow the order of the spiritual master. Or in this case, spiritual master or the spiritual master, that's Lord Brahman. So this is a very important principle because this principle of following the order lays the foundation of our advancement. Why we are here in this movement of Krishna consciousness is to purify our heart and eventually evoke that love, that lost love of Krishna that is there in our heart. And the basis, the means to evoke that love is by following the order. Therefore, as Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, it's very, very important amongst us to talk about it, to discuss, to share, to create a culture of respecting each other. At least beginning with physically or verbally. And gradually, as we discussed, internally, feeling respectful. Having an attitude to serve whom we interact with. With that service attitude, naturally, feeling of respect will be born. Thank you very much. It was very late. Mantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.